Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Amused Jester. My name is Junior. In this segment, we're going to be unboxing all of these. I think there's like 20 of them. They're all Super 7 Thundercats. Let me take you to the normal table. Before we begin, Super 7 Ultimates. That's what this is for. They were first originally priced at $45. They're currently priced at $55. They were the only one that was doing these Thundercats figures, so they're basically it. And their shtick is that they're a new company, so they have to do a higher price point and stuff, you know. But anyway, you can buy into that if you want to. I did. But then they started doing this at $55, these small figures, equal to the price of a Lionel. Actually more, because Lionel was 45, this is 55. Inflation and everything, I just don't get that. Anyway, you can decide for your own whether it was warranted or not. I obviously bought them initially. But then I'm done with Super 7. This is one of those things where it was a line killer for me, or actually it's a company killer for me. What they did with Wily Cat, and Snarf. It doesn't detract from the fact that I do like these figures. I will keep them in my collection. But as you can see, I kept them in the box because I had them in rows on the very top of the shelf, and they're very visible and displayable like this. I didn't have, you know, I can enjoy them as that, but they were taking way too much space up there, and I'm running out of space, and I needed space, and as a consequence, I've decided to take them out of the box, and just minimize the space that they're occupying, and put the rest of the accessories in baggies. And that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. And this collection, there's actually figures in here that I'm not even interested in, and I just bought it. Like this one, Snowman of Hook Mountain. I just wanted the core figures. Here's Mumra, the Ever Living. You know, the core Thundercats figures in Slight. And I think the last one I received was either Wily Cat or Wily Kit that completed the core figure for me. Some people might think that this character, Bengali, is part of that. I don't. I don't remember them from Thundercats. I'm not like a big follower where I know all the history of all these characters. This is the second release where supposedly they fixed the height so she's not so tall. So I don't really consider these Bengali or Palmyra as part of the core characters. They just, you know, I just bought them. I just bought them while I was waiting for the release that completes the whole line. Now, Super 7 has initiated the $35 price point with very, very minimalistic accessories. For me, it's kind of too late, and it's not the whole point. It is expensive. What they're doing is expensive, but for this is worth $35. That's all I'm saying. 35, maybe 40. So if I ever see them on sale for that much price, then I buy them, which is why I bought the two Silverhawks. I can't remember the name. But to reduce your price for $35 but only offer one core character and then one accessory, that basically disregards the whole point. Super 7's items are way too expensive. They're for the price range that they offer and for what they offer. Right, so the next set of figures is going to be Pumra, Jaga, and Snarf. So this set is actually being unboxed halfway through the whole unboxing in this review. But I'm gonna move this forward to the very beginning of the unboxing because these three figures actually represent the issues that made me decide to stop not only just buying the Thundercats line but also from Super 7. So let's talk about Pumra first. The figures, as you've seen, come out of these blister packing. This head was attached as a separate pack-in, and I can't remember why. It's possible that this was a replacement for this head. So I'm assuming that there was an issue with this head that Super 7 attempted to correct with this head piece. Now, the reason why I started with Pumra is this is how Super 7 used to address issues concerning their products. If after production there was an issue with a product, they'll try to catch up to it and provide you with replacement parts. And even after, you can just contact the store like Big Bad Toy Store and they should have it. So that's the kind of quality service that I was impressed with initially with them. You know, it's like, because like I said, they were for collectors. So even at a higher price point, I think at this point it was like 45 or something, or maybe 49. So this was impressive. But you know how it is now with Super 7? When they started to release the Silverhawks, a lot of their fans complained that it was the portrait and the painting on the portrait was so far off what they were promised, and they were. It was almost like diminished quality by 30 or 40%. It was that bad. And it wasn't the first time it's happened. There's been paint issues with their products, but this was probably the first time where they started to fight back against such concerns by saying that, oh, that was just computer render, you shouldn't expect it to look like that. Oh, this is off of a cartoon based, that's the way it's supposed to be, you know. Oh, that was a paint master, you know, it's not supposed to look like that. This is the best we can do, so kind of just deal with it. Far different from this. So here is now Jaga. As you can see, I mean, they're all nicely based off of the cartoon. It's very impressive. They will display well. Not much in terms of playability factor, but yeah. And look, Jaga actually has two types of cloth. One for one with, you know, wiring in there, so you can kind of bend it and all that stuff. So that's good. It comes with 3 head sculpts, the balding Sean Connery look, and this one, I don't know what the difference is between this one and that one. This one's probably when he's like dying and older. Comes with some sort of jewel. The Sword of Thundera, and then Sword of Omens. Here's the plastic cape and 2 extra hands. So coming from these 2 figures, as you can see, Jaga came with a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. You know, and it's big, it's impressive. So coming from these 2, good quality service, good product. So it's still, the price was still kind of acceptable, because at this point where I'm still kind of believing that there's still a smaller company, I'm paying full price for these. And they're the only company that was providing us with good cartoon representations of the Thundercats. Coming from this, we now jump off onto the extreme of Snarf. I'm not a Snarf hater. I wanted Snarf. I can't think of Lionel without a Snarf. This is a good Snarf. Got some good heads in there. It's got this one where it's already attached to the base, so you don't have to worry about that. But you know what ticked me off? This was $55. $55. Why is that the solution to whatever concern you're having with your company? And their rationalization was, well, in the wave, this is part of the wave that had a bigger figure. I can't remember if it was part of the Snowman wave or not, but it was a wave that came with a big figure. And the reason why the $55 price range with Snarf was because the bigger figure was also 55, so it balances out. That's their rationalization. And my answer to that is like, why do I care about that? What if I don't want the Snowman? I still have to pay full price on this one. That doesn't make sense to me. So now these observations of mine are completely mine. If you guys are still listening, you might have a different opinion and you might disagree with it and you might be for Super 7. This is just basically me saying this is not right. There's something wrong. On top of this, Super 7 always thought of themselves as a small company. They don't have any kind of major distributions. They don't have connections with Target, Walmart. You have to pre-order their stuff, right? But then on top of this, I started hearing that I started seeing Super 7 reaction figures on Walmart, on Target. I started hearing that these were on Amazon and they were like drastically cut in prices. Like if you wait long enough, those $55 figures goes down to $40. Even sometimes lower, $29, $32. I'm like, what? Why are they getting rid of their figures in such a low price and letting them go? And people who waited would get them. Now, you don't necessarily be able to get your entire line at $32. They're only select figures, and you might miss out on figures if you do it that way. But still, though, that's just like something that just sticks to my craw, and I'm like, I can't believe that. I just can't. So it was at this point with Snarf, Wily Cat having paid full price, that I decided I'm gonna finish these 3, and then I'm done. I'm done with Thundercats. That will finish it off for me. That gets me Lion-O, Panther, Chitara. I can't remember the other guy's name. And then Wily Cat, and Snarf, and maybe Jaga. That's the core group for me. And then for the villains, it's Monkey, Slythe, Vultureman, and Mumra. All these other figures, they're all peripherals that I could have lived with, but I just bought them kind of like supporting Super 7. And I'm kind of stupid in that way, to be honest, where if I really like a company, I'll tolerate a lot of stuff. I'll forgive QC issues. I'll forgive the prices. They're kind of like, for me, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm here to support the little guy. But honestly, Super 7 is not a little guy anymore. Not in my eyes. Um, in my eyes, they were just starting to using that as a marketing ploy and taking advantage of me as a consumer. Not necessarily you, as you guys. You guys might have a different opinion, but that's how I'm seeing them now at this viewpoint. Um, and when I started, and that type of viewpoint is not just constricted to what's happening in the toy line of Thundercats. That's a viewpoint that starts to erode my belief in a company, which means this basically ended up as a negative evaluation of the whole company itself and its practices. I need to have the bags ready for these guys. Here's Lionel out of the box. Now, as you saw, all my Thundercats are mint in box, but I have opened up some Super 7s because I bought some of their GI Joes, and the thing is, the quality on those were kind of suspect, like loose joints or the heads, all kinds of quality issues. Now, this guy is out of the box, and let me show you. Look at how loose this guy is. If I had opened this up and have seen this kind of quality right then and there, I likely would have cut down my purchases to the really core group of Thundercats and never given them so much of my money. Imagine at $50 each, and I have 20 of these. That's over $1,000. This one does not come off. Here's the head. And this is the best of their products because this was the first ones that got released. And their quality just began to degrade from there, both in quality control and customer service. At least in my experience. So that's Lionel. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, I'll show off the articulation for Lionel only. Everything else basically follows the same way. Maybe I'll change the head, show it to you because he is restricted by the big hair. As you can see, this is based off of the Classics Buck. Single joints, big pins. So this is really old tech. Up and down, twist. Limited on that. Side to side, twist, single knee, and all that stuff. So, yeah. I'm not sure if you know, like I said, this is based off of the Mattel's Masters of the Universe Classics, I believe. Is that what they call them? And Super 7 kind of took over the mold and the release of it. That's why they were able to have access to this mold. And that's where the company grew out of, at least as far as I know. And so their following literally came from the Masters of the Universe fans, and they started off from there as a service to the fans, and then it just, I don't know. All right, let's go to the next figure. Monkeyan is the next figure we're gonna open up. So here's Monkeyan. Now I think that as a startup company, or I thought this is what see how tight it is. That's the way it should be. I think this is a later wave than Lionel. As a new company, they really catered to their customers, to their fans, and they listened. There was a lot of issues with quality control, but then they used to own up to it, and they would do replacements, send replacement parts, and all that stuff um, for any mistakes that they may have done, and then they would try to do better. Like this is a much better figure than it was with the Lionel, because again, Lionel was still fresh off of the Masters of the Universe printing press and procedures, so they still hadn't gotten better. But over time, I think they got too confident, too overconfident, and it felt like they disregarded where they came from. So I've seen interviews of Brian, and he's a fun guy to watch. And I can't deny the fact that he brought us Thundercats and Masters of the Universe and finished the line in Snake Mountain and everything. But at a certain point, you lose your credibility because of the practices that you're currently doing. The graces of your fan only goes so far. Definitely doesn't. It definitely degrades a lot faster when you take advantage of pricing. Panthro is the next one we are gonna unbox. Now, yeah, I mean, I still have to admit that there are things in this line that still does impress me, like this idea over here. I don't know if they were the first ones to do that or Marvel Legends, but there it is. Um, you have to, just to put things in perspective, I am a loose collector. I take my figures out of the boxes immediately and I play with them. The Thundercats held a different stature in my collection in that they were the only ones that I actually kept in the box because they displayed well in the box. Um, Having them in rows was very, very cool to see. So don't get me wrong that this review is more like a disparage on the line itself. It's more um, what happened as to why not only did the line uh, pretty much ended for me, and also how I don't want to buy any Super 7 figures at all. It's just, you have to look at it as a whole. The company's actions, um, their decisions, and see if it fits your style as a collector and it fulfills it. For me, it was a tolerable situation because I wanted to get a representation of Thundercats in my collection, and and they fulfilled it. Unfortunately, um, it didn't bring me joy at one point. It became kind of like a struggle, and and something that I chose to go just to finish it. But now that it is, I'm kind of like washing my hands of Super 7, and I'm never gonna go through this whole thing again. The next man is Snowman of Hook Mountain. After this figure, I think we're gonna do 3 at a time, just so I can talk a little bit longer. There's not too much cuts and everything, um, and we can move things along because I have a lot of stuff I gotta do and everything. So I'll do the articulation on this guy because he is a different body. Twist right there. Ball joint. No more holes, articulation holes. I don't imagine there could be any kind of articulation on the knees. There, it's like maybe 15 degrees on each way. This is, you know, be careful with this. This is actually pretty sharp. And display like that. Hands coming in. He's got some sort of a ice lance and all that stuff. So after this, we're not gonna do 3 figures at a time just to get things moving more quickly. The next ones we're gonna unbox is Tigra, Jackalman, and the weaker version of Mumra. All right, so we have Tigra over here. This was kind of a controversial figure because of the wash that's going on in here, the bleed. So a lot of I think that the controversy occurred because this was the first time where they started to um, respond back that they said it's a QC issue, it's a manufacturer's issue, and all that stuff. And I think that was the wrong approach. I really didn't mind this. In fact, I don't even see it as a blade. They could have just said, "Well, that's intentional. That's paint application to show off the abs and everything." Um, I don't understand why, because it seems like it's intentional. But a lot of fans got angry because they said, "Oh my God, it's poor paint quality and all that stuff." I think it's intentional. Especially now that I have it out of the box. If you look underneath, the plastic is freaking blue. It's not orange. I don't know what they're talking about. But the way they responded, it just alienated their customers. Tiger was the one I forgot. And as you noticed, as I noticed as well, as pinless. I might have known it when I was buying that this was one of the first ones that they started doing pinless. But obviously, because like I kept them in box, it didn't really matter to me at that point. Came with its nice huge whip and then an additional whip that's just with string. And this is Jackalman over here. As you can see, it got a lot of nice details, very loose over here. Now, what does it mean as if you want to, what does it mean now that I'm talking about this way with Super 7? And if you're interested in collecting this, because they are coming out with $35 figures with bare bones, like 1 or 2 accessories. By all means, if you love Thundercats, and you feel like this looks pretty good, these are, by the way, 7 inches, then buy it. If you feel the $35 price of the new releases is good enough for you and you're only getting bare bones, then buy it. Because as you've seen, this is not even the entire Thundercat collection from Super 7. This is the only company that's producing Thundercats. So if you love Thundercats, these are good enough to be displayed and to have in your collection. Just be aware. I'm just letting you be aware of the practices of the company, because that $35 figure, if you buy it, well, from the business practices of the company, they might put it on Amazon later on at $20. And how would you feel then? But then again, if you wait for something like that, you might miss out on the character, because I feel like this is their last chance of salvaging as much as they can out of the mold before everybody just turns on them, But because they're basically pretty much reaching the end of the line of characters when it comes to their Ultimates version. I mean, I can't see what else they would do and still be able to appease their core fan base. I can't be the only one feeling kind of miffed about their practices. And I've supported them far enough into the line that I bought characters that I wasn't even interested in. And honestly, I'm not one to judge, because I just got into a collection line that's been almost 10 decades in, and I'm very, very late, and it's going to be very, very expensive. So what I've had to do is create boundaries of what I want out of that collection and what I can afford. And that's what you have to do. Okay, if you want to invest into this collection, you're kind of late in the game, honestly. So now you have to decide, are you willing to spend $55 at the market for some of these figures, even more, or are you just willing to get the 35 that they're releasing right now with fewer accessories, like really, really few accessories, um, and hope that they'll get to the characters that you want and just stick to those characters? Because right now, because of the library of characters that they've done, you know they have the molds to reproduce those characters again at the simplified version of $35. So that's a safe bet that they're going to get to the characters you want, if you just look up to the lineup that they've already produced. And I kid you not, look, this Mumra, this face, that's only a mother could love, but us collectors can love it too, because it really is very, very cool to have this final representation of the Thundercats. Um, and these are the accessories for Mumra. I believe you can just slip him off of this, because it does come with a cloth cape. I don't know how you're supposed to remove this. Okay, just pull off the head. Have scrawny Mumra screaming at you. I'm gonna keep him on the cloth cape because there is a way to make the cloth cape look good. You just have to remember that once you're dealing with wired capes, you're dealing with something that you can form in your own way. You can sculpt it to act in a certain way. So you can definitely still retain that menacing look for Mumra, as you can see. And then you just have this cape flowing from Mumra. Or you can hide them like this. Completely up to your own choices. I also want to add one of the things that kind of impressed me with the Mumra character um, was his transformation. It's kind of, it's not like with Lionel with thunder, 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 Thundercats, ho, you know, and all that stuff. What it reminded me of was the Green Lantern's oath, where in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Now, that's just to charge up his battery, but I've always been impressed, kind of in a way, that a villain, like an evil being, like would say something like ancient spirits of evil, you know, blah blah blah. I can't remember what it is now, but every time I think of Mumra, that's what I always think of. His transformation is the most powerful thing that I've ever seen. That's why, of all the evil characters, I think he is the most iconic in the 80s cartoon, more so than Cobra Commander or the guy from Silverhawks. Yeah, Mumra is definitely something to watch out for. Alright, so the next three characters we're going to unbox is Lynx O, Wily Cat, and Chitara. Alright, so here's Wily Cat compared to this guy's. And secondary head, base for his surfboard, a bunch of strings, and eight small hands. $55. Like, really? Anyway, so I was talking about if you wanted to get into this collection line. Like I said, by all means, if you love Thundercats, you're very passionate about it. If I had the chance and I didn't have these, I might actually get the $35 ones because, like I said, they're the only ones out there doing the Thundercats at this stage, and it would fit right well with my Masters collection. And also, I would limit my collection to the core group of the Thundercats and the core group of the villains. So it would be a total of maybe 10 to 12 characters at $35. And the way I would think of it is at $35, that's about $425 to finish off the collection line, and I'd be okay with that. But just to let you know, I got into this line with over $1,000 worth of expenses. In $1,000, if I had $1,000 right now and I had the option to buy this collection or another one that's coming off of Mondo, which is a 1/6 version, and I have had experience with Mondo's stuff, and I usually get their deluxe versions, which offer a lot of stuff. They have Lionel right now. I think it's $250. Well, they did have it as the deluxe. They might offer the regular version. $250 for Lionel. So if I were to keep to a maximum of 12 characters, we're talking about $3,000. But these are really high-end figures with really good paint application, and which everything. This is their version of an Ultimate Deluxe from Super 7, but much more so, much more so in terms of quality. I would go for that because they would be my ultimate rendition of Thundercats. So, and their articulation is almost exactly like this, which is kind of a bad thing. They're not fully articulated, but they actually have the same type of articulation. But I think I'm basically okay with that because you can even with these you can do enough of a pose, so you can pose the figure at a good enough pose and get them in a dynamic stance if you want to. But here's Chitara. Here's her two other heads. She's got a mirror with her, some sort of locket that does not close. You have a secondary one that is closed already. Bunch of hands, some sort of slingshot. I don't know what this gold thing is. And a flaming effect that you can attach to the end of her staff, which doesn't work because it's really heavy. And then you have this Link's old character, which I know nothing about. I think this is his too. So I have no connection to him. And this is one of those characters where I just bought it because it was offered and I was still supporting Super 7. So let's go on to the next group. Alright, it's been a long video, but trust me, it's just these three more, another three, and then finally the big Mumra. Pomyra, Groon, and Voltreman. Alright, so let's start off with Voltreman over here. He's the most impressive of all three right now. Definitely a very menacing character. There he is. This is kind of one big rubber, so it's hampering his articulation of the shoulders, but really nice sculpture going on over here. And then look at the accessories he's got. He's got a lot of accessories actually. He's got a lot of mechanic stuff, so apparently he's the mechanic of the villains. 4 hands. Oh yeah, this must be his goggles that you can put on him if you want to. He's got an alternate hat, which is even more menacing than the one he's got on right now. And I guess this is his tool slash weapon that he can hold. And from the high of Ultraman, we go into Palmyra over here. And from the high of Ultraman, we go into Palmyra over here. Now, Palmyra over here, as I said earlier, is supposed to be, this is supposed to be the version that's been changed because she was too tall for the rest of the figures. Well, guess what? This is not that version. So she is way too tall, and I don't understand why. Look at that. That's ridiculous. I don't understand why. They're basically reusing the freaking feet from Chitara. They are, look. Almost. So where does all this, and then the heads are practically the same height. Where is all this extra height coming from? It's from this stupid body that they did. This is her, where her crotch is right now, right exactly where her pants are. And look at the height difference from, she's basically, Chitara's shoulders are basically just on her mid boob, and all this space is like, where is that coming from? I don't get it. And then on top of that, disappointment of, that's all you're getting from her. The hands, that's it. So anyway, now let's go on to Grun. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on him, but before we do, what the heck is going on with this joint? This is the first time I've ever seen where the ball joint is like popping out completely, like of the diaper situation over here. Let me bring out links over here, which basically is how all of them are done, where you don't see the ball joint. So I know this is a brand new sculpt and everything, at least from the feet down to the waist, but that's just ridiculous. It's like they hired, I think these two came together and they hired a different firm to design this, and they were too stupid to realize how out of proportion it is. Now Groot over here comes with a secondary thing here that I'm gonna look into some more because it's the first time I've seen it. Funnily enough, I usually watch reviews off of these toys, but for some reason Thundercats, I don't really see a lot of reviews on them. The Ultimate Super 7, even Robo from Foosh, or Robo Don't Know, they're usually the source that I have for this. JC, I have never seen a review of the Super 7 Thundercats. Only a few of them, and that's kind of weird. Maybe it's because I never really watched it, I guess. So it never really crossed my lineup. So this is the first time I'm seeing this kind of an exchange. I don't know how this thing looks. So you can take this off. Oh, you can take off this whole thing. So this is the armor that he has once he's turned traitor and evil, and he comes with a broken Sword of Omens. So does that mean the Sword of Omens was reforged at some point, or was that just a broken version? And then you replace that with this one. I'll give him the honor of wearing his old uniform when he was still seen as a hero and not a traitor. So what's the story behind this guy? Was it the usual I should have been king? Is that the reason why he betrayed them? Or was there something a little bit more deeper? Where, oh, the Thundercats were a dying breed, and Mumra offered us a way out. To save our people, I had to betray them. I don't know. This was a kid's show, so it could have been that. Alright, so push it in some more. Alright, just push it in some more. Let's hope this connects good. Okay. But yeah, That connects pretty good. The only fault I have, I see, is this one right here is loose and disjointed. And because he's still a hero, he probably has two fangs still. So we'll give him his two fangs and this mace. Again, loose joints, loose joints, loose joints. All right, I'm almost done, guys. I hope you're still here. I hope you didn't log off at the first 5 minutes. You probably did, but I was debating whether I should cut this into smaller videos, but you know, I'm not really doing these videos just to make money or to make money at all. I'm just doing it because, you know, it's like I was gonna do it anyway. Might as well video it and put it up on YouTube, see how many people are watching. Alright, so the next three, the last three, and then after this is the Big Mumra, Slythe, Wily Kit, and Bengali. Alright, so let's start off with Wily Cat or Wily Kit over here. That's what you're getting with the figure. A couple of slings. I think 3 extra hands, a base, and that. Alright, so let's take a look at Bengali. He's got, I guess this is some sort of an armor, a smith's hammering thing, or no, this one is it. And then you plug it in there, and this might be his hammer, and that's probably why he has this sort of omens that's all reddish and yellow. And it comes with about 3 more pairs of hands. So I suppose I can put this, and he's got this that kind of makes it look like he can do the whip, kind of similar to Tigra. Yeah, so let's put this one in here, and it's not going in properly. Maybe it's supposed to go in like that. Kind of bland looking face. It's much better looking face, I think. So that's Bengali and Slythe. This guy is massive. This is, I remember Geek That Life doing a review on this one. I remember that much. Very much impressed with the weight, the solidity of it, and I agree. This is a cool looking figure. So we're talking about one of the reasons why I kind of got off of Super 7 was initially these are $55 figures. This is a $55 figure in comparison to something like this, and then you see it on Amazon on sale for like $39 or $32, and you get pissed off, right? Well, it's like you might be asking yourself, well, Junior, why is it that you're getting pissed off when you see it on from $55 to $30 on sale, but you're not feeling the same way when G.I. Joe Hasbro does it, when you see their figures at Ross for $5 when you paid $20 or $25 on retail? I'll explain it to you on how I see it. You might disagree, but this is how I see it. With G.I. Joe Classifieds, at the base price that I'm paying, full price, because I always order pre-order, I get a value higher than the price that I paid for. I believe that G.I. Joe Classifieds is one of the best or the best line out there for 6-inch figures. It gives me everything I want that needs to be in the figure. It gives me everything that I want that needs to be in the figure, the look that I want from the figure, and now they're going to the vehicle. So I'm really happy with the price that I'm paying for them. I'm satisfied for it. So to see them on sale at Ross at $5 a figure, when I see that, then for me, my viewpoint at that point is, wow, that's a great deal. I'm gonna get more. In fact, Even though I already had Zaymont and Tomax, I bought like 5 of them because I can always use the weapons. I can customize the body to something else. With Super 7, the difference is they're touting themselves as the little guy, and that's one of the reasons why they had to ask for a higher price range, because they couldn't produce as much, equal to Hasbro G.I. Joe, which is a big conglomerate toy industry, and they can't even distribute to Walmart and Target and all that stuff. So they're asking us to pay that higher premium price for a much more premium, for supposedly premium quality figure, and then to see that at a lower price point in Amazon, no less, and then all of a sudden now in Walmart, I'm like, what the heck happened? I thought that was supposed to be the whole deal. It's like I'm supporting you as a company, to give us these figures to finish the line, and yet you turn around and offer it at a lower price. It's a completely different viewpoint, for me. So yes, for me it was an act of betrayal from Super 7 to offer it at a lower price point. Now, if I was a collector and I don't really care about Super 7, and I didn't care about, paying all that full price when they were trying to say that they're a young company and they're trying to get into the market, and I see it for $30, $40, of course I would be ecstatic now, and I wouldn't feel betrayed because there's no background or that viewpoint for me. So that's how I feel. That's why I feel like that's a sneaky move from Super 7, and I feel like they're using that as a marketing tool to say, we're a young company, we have to do this, guys. I'm sorry, it's the lowest price point we can do at this point. That only goes so far before it comes out as not correct. So before I go on to the last figure, if people are still here, you know what, hold on a second. Alright guys, before we get on to the last figure, Mumra is the big guy. I wanted to show you how much space I saved. Whereas before I had 20 large boxes, 2 piles on my desk, 1 big pile on the floor. Now this is all the room they are taking up. Like, I could only fit like 2 boxes in the amount of space that these guys are taking up right now. Look at that. This is how much space I just saved up. And unfortunately, I'd like to show a picture of them displayed all together, all nice and everything. But right now, the moment I'm done with these guys, they're going in a box for now, because I don't have the space. If you've been following, if you haven't been watching any of my videos, take a look at the history. You know that I've gotten into the vintage collection line of Star Wars, and I'm expecting a large 1/6 scale 1989 Batmobile from Jazz Inc. dioramas, and I'm rearranging almost 30% of my collection to maximize the space, and so I can't afford to find a place for them right now. What else did I want to say? Something else. If I want to, now that I've saved up all this space, I also want to compare Super 7 to another company that is kind of in the dumpster in my situation, which is McFarlane Products. Now, I'm going to say that because I'm thinking of boxing up all my McFarlane products. I think there's over like 150 figures in there. But I don't like McFarlane. At least with McFarlane Products, I'm still kind of not ending or refusing to buy any more of their products, unlike with Super 7, because at least with McFarlane Products, they didn't tout the I'm a small guy thing. I can only afford to sell these at a $55 figure. No, McFarlane Products at least started off with a very, very cheap price compared to the usual Hasbro. They started off at $19. It's only and And to be honest, I forgave them a lot of discrepancies that I didn't like on their figures, like different scales, different heights. At least with these guys, because they're using the same buck body, uh, you don't get a lot of, oh, this guy, like what happened with Palmyra being out of scale to the rest of the line. You don't that doesn't happen with this a lot. With McFarlane, it's a given that you're gonna be out of scale. So anyway, that's why Super 7 sits. Uh, Super 7 has a special judgment on from me in terms of as a collector, as a company, um, because of how they started off their marketing campaign, and it and I'm gonna say it's a marketing campaign for them to say there's a small company and all that stuff, because I don't think it was ever the case. Or maybe it was when they took the molds and stuff from Mattel initially, but certainly not afterwards. Alright, so finally we come to the end, and the end is Mumra. I just realized, one of the other reasons why I just realized that one of the other things why I liked this evil person so much, and he stands at an iconic place for villains, is, how I said he has that oath, but also he's kind of like the evil representative of what Captain Marvel was initially, when the young Billy Batson would cry Shazam and become this superheroic figure, but in essence he's still the same person, right? Mumra is the same way. He says his oath and he transforms into this powerful evil being. So I never realized it before, why I had such a intrigue, of why I was so drawn to this character. But and maybe it's also because of how he's designed. It's just really amazing, and this figure really does capture that face very well. And I can't tell, you know what, I'm gonna go with this head. This head is awesome. And the cool thing is, and I think this is how you're supposed to attach this cape to the figure, by removing this and then putting this in here. It seems like it. I think I like this one. I'm not gonna give him his weaponry. This might not look good. It might not. Oh, yes. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decaying body to Mumra, the ever-living. That is perfect. I think, you know what, as a collector, I know this has been a kind of a downer video, but let's end this relationship with Super 7 at a high note. I'm glad this ended up being the last figure, because this was, it brings me back to why I collected the line in the first place. Oh, it's got a paint smudge. Stop it. And like I said, it's not like I'm gonna get rid of the line. And the reason why I unboxed this, I just really needed the space. Here's some of the figures over here. Mutra. But it still brings me joy. I'll have them displayed somehow. Um, that's why I took them out of the boxes anyway, so that I can properly display them with my He-Man. But yeah, this figure, I think it was for $80. Um, Basically encapsulates why I buy it and why I did like Super 7's figure with Thundercats. I mean, like, this basically captures, these two basically captures it perfectly, you know. But if you think about it, 80 and 55, that's over $130 worth. And I'm looking at it as like, $130, but I get the ultimate version of Mumra in both versions. I'm still okay with that. I would have been happier if it was like 120, you know. And what would suck is like seeing them at a lower price. I've never seen these guys at a lower price, and I doubt you will. But yeah, very beautiful piece to end this whole video in. Thank you for watching. I don't know how many of you guys stayed tuned all the way to 1 hour. I think I'll cut off some parts of it, but I'm not entirely sure where it's. But yeah, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos from me. I needed to make room just in my space alone, not just in the display space, because I've got more stuff coming in. I need to move things around, and then maybe I'll show you the whole collection room. I don't know. We'll see. Goodbye.